we've seen Youri Tielemans as confirmed and signed for Aston Villa. What do we rate that as a move out of 10?
I think for him, just to give you an answer, okay, out of 10, I think it's...
We can get into it. I just want to get the rating first and then probably delve into why you feel that.
For the club, I'd say it's a 10 out of 10. Big name. For him, I'd say...
10 out of 10?
10 out of 10.
That's a big...
For the club, I'd say it's a 10 out of 10. For him personally, I think it's probably about a 7.
Why would you say that's a 10 out of 10 for Aston Villa?
Because Aston Villa are in the ascendancy, right? They're the way, should I say, where Unai has taken them, they want to be buying that caliber of player. Even though Tielemans hasn't had a great season, I wouldn't want him anywhere near Arsenal. But if you would have said Tielemans would be playing for Arsenal for Aston Villa a year ago, I think they'd have bitten your hand off for that. That'd have been an amazing signing for Aston Villa a year ago.
So essentially you're saying he's a level of player above Aston Villa right now. They're punching with that.
I wouldn't say right now. Because of how his season has gone and how bad he's played this season, I think that's probably a fair... They're probably equal.
So why is that a 10 out of 10 if he's had a bad season?
Because he can...
And he looks like he's on the down.
We know what he can do.
Okay. So you're looking at what he's shown.
But just like I said,
his ability.
If they said last year, at the beginning of the season, that you'd have Tielemans, they would have taken it.
Okay.
Tielemans at the beginning of the year was too good for Aston Villa.
Fair enough. Does?
For me, it's underwhelming on both sides. I'll give it a 5 out of 10 for the club and a 5 out of 10 for the player.
Where do you think Tielemans should go then if it's underwhelming? What sort of club?
He's run down his contract. A year ago, they were talking about teams like Arsenal in for him. A year ago, I don't think Tielemans would have been thinking he was going to Aston Villa.
Yeah, that's
why I think it's underwhelming for him, because a year ago, he would have been thinking he's going somewhere a lot bigger than Aston Villa. And from the Aston Villa side, I don't think that signing is any better than what they've got. I don't think that's going to up their levels. I think it's just another
Isn't that based
player
on what Tielemans has been doing this season though?
Sorry?
Isn't that based on what Tielemans has been this season as opposed to how we know Tielemans can play?
Well, I'm basing him on what he's done this. Yeah, I'm basing him on what he's done this season.
So
what he's done in the past is what he's done in the past. I'm looking at what you're doing now because I'm not getting the player.
But if he gets back to how we know he can.
But
play,
what if he doesn't?
Okay, but I'm just saying in terms of the player that they've got on paper, Tielemans is a great signing for him.
I don't think so. I think they've got players just as good in that midfield.
I don't know about great signing.
Where would you say he should go then? What team should have picked him up?
From his perspective or from a team perspective?
From the team's perspective. Because it sounds like you're saying...
For a team, if he went somewhere like his team just got relegated. So anyone... I'm expecting him to go to if he went to a Fulham or something, I'll say, yeah, it's a 10 out of 10.
I mean, let's be
Fulham?
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest, right? He hasn't... I'd say for the past 2 seasons, he hasn't lived up to his hype, right?
There's a reason why he's been linked with Arsenal and Man United in some cases. There's a reason why. Before
all that hype or that linking came in and the links to Arsenal, etc., he was a decent player. I wouldn't have said he was we need to go and get Youri Tielemans, right?
No,
he came through part of that at the back end of that golden generation for Belgium. They said, oh, look his performances for Belgium, look what he's doing. And yes, when Leicester were in their pump, he was right in the thick of it. But for the last 2 seasons, I don't think he's been anywhere near what he's capable of. So therefore, I don't think this is a 10 out of 10 signing for Aston Villa, because now Unai's got to pick him up. Essentially, he's got to revitalise him as a player.
But if he does that, that's a great signing for him. Everything's an if though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not great when you look at his last 2 seasons though.
I wouldn't say his last 2 seasons were a complete write-off though. But anyway, my point is, at the beginning of this season that we've just finished, he was heavily linked with Arsenal, even in the January transfer window. There's a reason why.
And a lot of people were like, no. We don't want him.
How do we know a lot of people said no?
No, I'm saying the fans.
The general.
A lot of people were like, nah.
Oh, I was one of those fans. I didn't really want him myself. But my point is, there's obviously still a player in there. So for me, for Aston Villa, it's a great signing. For him personally, it's underwhelming.
Is it a great signing if you're trying to ascend up the ladder, right? You're trying to become a better team. You're trying to get up, climb a few positions.
Because essentially you're not paying for him, yeah? That's probably. I mean, I wouldn't recommend they pay for him, but because they're getting him for free, there's a chance he might get back to that player that we all know is in there or should be in there. If he gets back to that level of playing, why wouldn't it be?
I think it's a good
free
move.
signing.
I think
What
it's
do
a
you
good
think
move
about
for
it?
him.
For him,
For him, it's a good move.
I think it's a great move for him.
He's going from a team that's just got relegated to now he's in where are Villa in the
Mid-table,
conference.
let's say mid-table
In the
team.
conference
Yeah.
league, back in European football.
well,
Good manager, good team, a team that's on the up. Why is that? That's a good
I didn't say
move
it's a
for
bad
him.
move for him. I said it's a
Very
7
good
out of
move for
10. I
him.
said it's
For
7 out of 10.
Villa, you don't know what you're gonna get
So
because
good
there's
point.
other players in that's played for Leicester. You can say, oh yeah, but Leicester's kind of falling off, and James Maddison ain't falling off. He's a player.
just James
mate.
Maddison. What about
No,
anyone
but I'm
else?
saying, I know we can. Obviously, they've gone down. A lot of those players have been poor, but he's been one of them.
We're linked. Arsenal linked with Castagna. Like he's part of that team. There's loads of players in that team. Like we can't just look at because he's played a bad season. But there's probably a reason why
he's had-
collectively they've all had a bad season.
Arguably, 2 bad seasons. He's had 2 bad seasons. Even when he was linked with Arsenal, it was a loud no from a lot of fans.
Well, I hope he shows you lot up, man.
And
I hope he. turns it
Maddison,
around.
I was one of the people that said last season he's only had 1 bad season. I would take him, but now it's carried on to the next season, and now Leicester
I'm
got
not-
relegated.
I'm
Now
not
I'm
disputing
thinking, I don't really see it, and now I'm thinking maybe Arteta was right, not picking him up or not.
Just
You're-
on your point about
Getting it.
Aston Villa, what makes you think they're on the up?
They're only up, bro. Come on.
It's not what I think they are.
They're only up, bro.
Okay. All right.
Can I just
So league position aside, considering they finished higher than they did the season
no,
before.
but I'm thinking next season. Are you not expecting them to finish higher than 7th? Because I'm not.
No.
I'm not
No,
saying-
but it's
They're
about
on the up then, they're on the
but
down.
it's- okay,
no,
but
but it's
they-
about
they're
maintaining
They're
though.
on the up,
Alright.
they're on the up.
But it's about maintaining though.
Exactly.
So you think they can finish 7th again?
They
I
could.
don't see why
I
not.
don't think they can.
I'm just saying they could,
why
and they're
not?
in a competition.
Why not?
They're now in a European competition that they could not easily win, but they have every chance of winning.
They could win that competition and they could come 14th.
Th-
Like what West
but
Ham
to
done.
them, that's fine.
But is that on the up?
That would it's
That technically,
it would
yes.
So
it
what
would
is West
be.
Ham? So if West Ham going from 7th to 14th, but winning the Conference League,
Look
is
at
up
them.
on the
They're
up.
really enjoying themselves right now.
But
Have you
it's
seen the parade and
No, but
everything? They're really
Is
enjoying.
you
Alright.
say they're on the up though? Or you
Not
say
on the
they're
up. I wouldn't
Yeah.
say
Alright, so-
West
so
Ham's
yeah.
on the up.
So the reason,
Yeah.
all right, I would. The reason why I would, number one, they're still in the league, right?
Mm.
They're now in Europa League competition, and it goes back to this whole now they're the pool of players they now have to play with, right?
Yeah.
You could write last season off as a blip and just say, look, all right, we've won the Europa League.
Mm.
I mean, the Conference League. We're now in the Europa League. New season's a fresh start, right? We've got Skamaka's had a chance to bed in. We're going to be able to go and attract 1 or 2 new players from a bit better pool of players. Who knows, right? So next season they could finish, hypothetically speaking, 6th, 7th, right?
Mm.
They could go quite far in the Europa League. It's improved. Last season was just a blip.
But it's funny you say that because if we compare the 2 clubs, next season, I would probably expect West Ham to finish above Aston Villa.
This is all ifs. We just spoke about ifs. Like we
Mm.
can't base it on ifs. If Tielemans has a good season, it would have been a great signing. We can't base it on ifs.
So we're basing it on what he is now then. How he's doing.
Oh my days. My point is, he as a player, as a package, is a decent signing for a team like Aston Villa.
No, you said it was.
You said
10.
10
You're
out of
right.
10.
Yeah, it is. No, I didn't
You
say
said
10.
it's
You
10.
did say
For
10.
No, hold
For
on,
Aston
hold
Villa,
up,
you said
hold
10
up,
out of
hold
10.
up, hold up. For Aston Villa, it's a 10 out of 10 signing. For him personally, it's a 7.
All right.
Yeah? There's a difference.
I think it's only a 10 out of 10 is if he comes and balls out, right? Which is a if, right?
Yeah, it's a
It's a massive if
A big
because
if.
you're only as good as your last performance. And the last 2 seasons he's had have not been
So
as
it
good
can't be a 10.
as the season as 2 seasons
Well,
ago.
there's
when
mitigating
he-
circumstances.
Does he
There's-
start for them?
He does. There's mitigating circumstances as to why he might not have had a great
Okay.
season.
He starts over.
He's not better,
Where's
he's
this
not better
player?
than Douglas Luiz.
Wendy.
He ain't better than Douglas Luiz, that's for certain. He's not better than Douglas Luiz. No way. I'm not having that.
But we need squad depth in it. Like he might turn up and
So you're saying
play
he's-
better than Douglas
No, I'm
Luiz.
talking
not
about
saying he's better-
starting.
I'm not saying he's better than Douglas Luiz. We're having a different conversation here, bro. We're having this conversation.
No, but you said it's a 10 out of 10 signing for the club.
For the club,
So that
it is a 10
means
out of
they're
10.
bringing him
Goes
in
straight
and he
into
should
the
go
first
straight
That
into
does
the
not
starting
mean that
11.
you're changing it.
How?
You asked me to give it a rating, and I've given it a rating. Now we're turning it to he's a starter. Did I say he's 10 out of 10 starter?
No, we're saying
it's
you've
not
given.
that. I mean, okay.
No,
so-
don't try and twist it.
No,
10 out of
no,
10
what I'm
does
saying is-
not-
what I'm
10
saying
does not
is-
mean
he's
he's
got
a
street.
starter.
Hold on.
10
All
out
right.
of 10 mean that you're buying your quality player for your club. Aston Villa could never have looked at Tielemans at the beginning of the last season or the season just finished and said he's going to be one of our players. He wouldn't even have looked at Aston Villa. But the fact that he's gone there now, this is
That's
players.
because
We always talk about
that's
players.
because Villa
Unai
was
Emery's
that was
there.
because
But, okay,
Villa
we always
was
talk
in
about
the relegation
players- We
zone.
always
That's
talk
why.
about teams sacking their manager and getting this like new lease of life and whatever. Bruv, this might be what he needed. There's still a player there. There's still a reason why everyone has wanted Tielemans, bruv. We can't just write him off because he's got
Who's
relegated.
everyone? We was linked
I'm
to him.
generalizing, but you can't just write him off because he's been relegated. And then you're going to mention Maddison, bruv. Is Maddison the only player that got relegated?
No,
Yes, he
I'm
had a
saying
great
Maddison
season, but
played
everyone else-
well in that
So
team.
what? Who else? No one else played well in that team.
I would say
No.
Maddison played well in that team. Maybe Harvey Barnes played better than him.
Dewsbury Hall. had
Maybe
Sprout-
Dewsbury
had
Hall
Bouts.
played better than him.
There's a reason why we're linked with Castagna in that. I said it before. So
All right, fair enough.
Hmm.
That's definitely
Can't go
caused
writing
a bit of
players off
contention
That's a
there.
good one. Yeah.
Little bit
We'll see.
contention
You know,
there.
we'll have to touch back on that next season.
Nah.
Yeah, I'll have to touch
Tielemans,
back on that
We'll
one.
clip that one and
yeah,
come
doing very well,
back to it.
Tielemans. Doing very well, Tielemans. I'm counting on you, bro. Remember, 10 out of 10, 7 out of 10. Counting on you, bro.
All right, and